Should you move to Chattanooga? No. Or it could be a yes, depending on your needs and what you're looking for in the beautiful city of Chattanooga. We're going to discuss in today's video the real things that you need to consider when moving here, and I'm going to try to save you a huge amount of headache if you move here and you didn't know the things that I'm going to discuss today. So let's get right into today's video. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to discuss of things to know before moving to Chattanooga is our airport. Now, our airport is pretty small, especially when you compare it to bigger cities like Nashville and Atlanta. They're both about 2 hours away, and I'm going to pretty much bring them up a lot when comparing them to Chattanooga because they're the closest big city to Chattanooga. Our airport is very small. As of the recording of today, I believe we have 14 direct flights, which I'll put on the screen, of these cities that we go to, and that's a number that has definitely gone up over the years. I believe when I first started this channel 3 years ago, I believe it was only like 6 or 7 direct flights, so we're definitely increasing. We just got a new flight from Chattanooga to Fort Lauderdale, which is cool. And you know, flights and the airport are getting bigger. The airport went through a makeover. They expanded one of the terminals, so they're definitely trying to get a lot more flights, a lot more direct flights to other cities. But it's something that you need to know. If you travel a lot for work, or you want to be in a city that has an international airport that you can essentially go there and go, you know, 50 or 100 direct flights, Chattanooga might not be it for you. But something that I will mention is that our airport is small. So if your flight leaves at, you know, let's say 1 p.m., you're boarding at 12:30, you can literally park your car in the garage at 12 and you will be at your gate at 12:05, 12:10 max. There's typically not a lot of people going through security, and it's an absolute breeze. So that's a huge pro for having a small airport. Whereas bigger airports, whether it's Atlanta or Nashville, you're definitely going to have to get there 2 to 3 hours beforehand because the lines are typically so long and it takes so much time to get through security. But on the flip side, those bigger airports have a lot more direct flights, so something you need to know. The next thing I want to discuss is job opportunities. With Chattanooga being a smallish type city, it does have a lot of big employers and a lot of businesses that are growing here that have a lot of job opportunities for people to work here. Some of the big employers that we have in the area is TVA, which produces power for 6 or 8 states, Tennessee Valley Authority. You have Unum, you have Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. You have all the hospital systems, which are Erlanger, Memorial, and Park Ridge. You have the school board and the schools here that employ all the teachers. You have Shaw Industries, which is a huge carpet manufacturer. I believe is the biggest in the world. You have US Express and so many other employers here, not to mention all the small businesses. And the area is also trying to appeal to a lot of tech industries. When we first rolled it out, it was the world's fastest internet that's available to regular users like you and me. But obviously over time, a lot of other cities have implemented that. But now they actually rolled out 25 gigabytes of upload and download speed, which is absolutely insane. The convention here in Chattanooga is trying to appeal to gaming leagues and stuff like that. It's the only convention in the nation currently that has 25 gigabytes of upload and download speed. So it's trying to get a lot more tech jobs, a lot more tech industries to come to the area. So the job opportunities here that you will find for such a small type of city compared to Nashville and Atlanta, and it's definitely a pro. Also guys, by the way, if you're looking to move to Chattanooga, we would love to help you make the move. We have helped over 100 families move to Chattanooga. We are experts in helping you move from a different part of the country to our beautiful city of Chattanooga. Reach out to us on the number on your screen or shoot us an email. We'd love to talk to you and answer more of your questions and see if we can make it a reality. With that said, let's get back to today's video. Now, keeping in line with the smallish type of city, the next thing I want to discuss is that Chattanooga is a medium-sized city. When we discuss Hamilton County, it has about 380 to maybe 400,000 residents. That's the whole county. But if we're talking about Chattanooga City specifically, city limits, it has about 190,000 people. Now, this can be a huge positive for you or a huge negative. Positive if you want to live in a smaller type of city where it brings that small town charm. Negative for you if you want to live in a bigger city where there is a lot more luxuries and a lot more conveniences. For example, we don't have an Apple store. At one point we had an Apple retailer at the mall. It's no longer there. You know, you either have to go to different cities, even Knoxville has an Apple store, or you have to go to Best Buy or different places like that, or send your Apple products in. But we don't have an Apple store. We don't have a lot of the, you know, Gucci and Louis, all the luxury type of brands that you would find in bigger cities. For most people, that really doesn't matter. matter. But if it matters to you, if you need these big city amenities, we don't have that here. But if you love the smaller type of city where you get a lot more things that we'll discuss today with that small city, it's definitely a pro for you. Now, the next thing I want to discuss is location. And I don't really see a lot of people discuss this at all. I love the location of Chattanooga because you have so many things and so many cities within 6 hours max. Like I've already mentioned, you have Nashville is about 2.5 hours northwest of us. If you need to get your luxury stores, your party scene, all that type of stuff, definitely go to Nashville. You have Knoxville an hour and a half away, and the Smoky Mountains, you can go in the cabin and see all the natural beauty there. You have Atlanta about 2 hours south of us. Again, another big city. Can get to wherever conveniences and stores and shopping that you want to get into. And then something else that you have is you have the beaches anywhere from 5 to 6.5 hours away. If you want to go to South Carolina or Georgia, Savannah, it's about 5.5 hours away. Or you want to go to Florida Panhandle, it's about 6.5 hours depending where in the Panhandle you go. So you can definitely just go out for the weekend if you just want to go to the beach in the summer, or you know, you're tired like me of the winter during February or March time, just want to get away to Florida, get some sunshine, get some warmer weather, but just for the weekend you don't have a lot of time, you can definitely get to those places. So I absolutely love the location of where Chattanooga is because we have so many things around us and we have so much natural beauty surrounding Chattanooga. Now the next thing I'm going to discuss is one of the main questions I get from almost everybody I talk to. It's the inclement weather, or more specifically the tornadoes here in Chattanooga. And I tell everybody the same thing. It's not bad, but it's still something that you need to be aware of. So according to the tornado index of USA.com, Chattanooga is above the national average, but well below the Tennessee average. And as you can see on your screen right here, Chattanooga kind of sits in between. There's other places in Tennessee that get a lot more tornadoes. It is still above the national average, and something you need to take into account. And as you can see from the map on your screen, this is a map depicting how many tornadoes have hit each county from 1950 to 2025. Not yearly, but over the span of 75 years. And as you can see, the Chattanooga area has gotten about 27, 28 tornadoes in that whole 75-year period. And then you can see in Nashville, in Memphis, typically that area gets a lot more than the Chattanooga. And then you have Knoxville, which is another big city in Tennessee, gets way fewer than all the other three that I have already mentioned. But here's a map just to depict of all the tornadoes that have happened over the last 75 years. Just some more information for your research. Do we get tornadoes? Yes, we do, but it's not prevalent and not something that happens all the time. We're not in Tornado Alley, but it's still something that you need to be aware of. The next thing I want to discuss is the natural beauty that Chattanooga holds is special. It's called the Scenic City for a reason. But with that natural beauty also comes the flip side of the humidity that you're going to find in the summer. Because Chattanooga is so green and lush, it rains a lot, and there is a lot more humidity than you can expect, you know, western part of the country or northern part of the country. Now, if you're comparing it to Georgia or Florida, it's definitely not as bad as those states. But as you can see on your screen, Chattanooga gets a high humidity of about 85% in July. And as you can see from the chart, there is a wide spectrum of the oppressive type of humidity. Kind of starts in beginning of June. It goes up all the way till July, August-ish, early August, and then kind of dies down in the fall time. But it's something that you need to be aware of. If you've never experienced humidity, it pretty much feels like you open the oven and you pour a water bottle on top of your hair. You're kind of just perspirating by just being there. Any movement makes you kind of sweat, which is very different than dry humidity, where the shade and that type of stuff is way cooler. There's definitely differences between the dry and the humid type of areas, but with the natural beauty, the flowers, the lush, the greens, the mountains, all that type of stuff definitely has the humidity and plays a big part about living in Chattanooga. So if you absolutely hate the humidity, definitely something you need to consider. Something that I will say is that you get used to it over time. I myself could never picture myself living in a drier climate, but of course we humans adapt to everything. So if you love Chattanooga, not a big deal, cool. But if you do not want to live in a place that has a high humidity, maybe you want to steer clear of Chattanooga. The next thing I want to discuss is the Sequoia nuclear plant. Now, I'm not an expert on this. This is just stuff that I've Googled for you, so you don't have to Google it. But Sequoia nuclear plant is a plant in Saudi Daisy area, North Saudi Daisy by the water, that produces power for a ton of states in the area and a ton of places in the area. Something you need to be aware of. Moving here, a lot of people discover that and absolutely turns them off of Chattanooga. They don't want to live here, but most often than not, they do more of their research and they see it's not really a big deal. I believe the last time there was some type of malfunction with the nuclear plant in the country was in the 70s or 80s, I believe New Jersey. I could be wrong on that. but something you need to be aware of, especially if you're looking into the northern part or high Saudi Daisy area where the nuclear plant is located. Next thing I want to discuss is the family-friendly type of vibe that you get in the city and in the area. Chattanooga, like I mentioned earlier, is a small, medium-sized city when we compare it to the population size. And with that small town feel brings this like friendliness, southern charm, southern hospitality, family type of vibe. There's parks all over the city, all over the county, and the counties that are next to us as well that you can access with your kids. There's hikes, there's a lot of outdoor and water type of things that you can do with your kids. It gives me the impression, I've visited many different cities. I was in the military, I've been to many different parts of the country, and I get a very friendly vibe from the area. Of course, there's a lot more areas that have more parks than others, but overall, I get a very friendly family vibe. You have the Children's Museum downtown, the Tennessee Aquarium, which is the biggest aquarium in Tennessee. You have a lot of things that are catered to families and kids in general. So if you have kids or you want to move somewhere where you can raise a family, this is definitely a great city for you. Now, the next thing I want to discuss could be a huge con for many people in that we don't have a super vibrant nightlife and a huge party scene. Now, if you don't care about that, don't even worry about this. It might even be a positive for you. But if you need to party all the time, if you want to go out clubbing, partying, drinking, all this type of stuff, Chattanooga might not be for you. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, you have Nashville. So a lot of times people in the area, they have bachelorette parties or they have whatever type of party they want to get away for the weekend. They go to Nashville or Atlanta. So if you want that type of party scene, maybe Nashville is better for you. But if you're okay with just getting away for the weekend, Chattanooga will be great for you because most of the time there isn't a huge party scene. But if you need that type of lifestyle, maybe not the city for you. Now, the next thing I want to discuss could be a positive or a negative depending on what you're looking for, which is Chattanooga and the area is a growing area, right? It could be negative, especially for people that live here. They don't want to see their small town get too big and lose that friendliness, that southern hospitality. But it could be a huge positive if you're moving from a different part of the country or you live in the area and you want a bigger city with more conveniences that I have already discussed that we lack. But with that, it's going to bring a lot more traffic, right? Because as the infrastructure tries to catch up with so many people here, there's definitely going to be traffic. There's going to be a lot of construction work on highways and roads everywhere. So you do have to put up with that, but just know that it's a growing city. So job opportunities, conveniences, things like that will grow over time, and definitely a positive if that's what you're looking for in Chattanooga. The last thing I want to discuss is the housing prices and the rising of housing costs. Now, what I will say is that we're still definitely under the national median price point, which is $419,000. According to the Fed economic data, that the national median price of homes are $419,000, and Hamilton County is actually $380,000. So as you can see, there's still a huge gap between the national median price and the area's median price here. So yes, have the prices gone up over the last 5 to 10 years? Yes, absolutely, especially with COVID and everybody moving here and everybody kind of moving all over the country. I say, or I like to tell people, is that Chattanooga got discovered during COVID. It was kind of flying under the radar. People just really knew about Nashville, maybe Memphis, but for the most part, they didn't know about Chattanooga, and that's really when it got on the map and got discovered. So yes, prices you can see from the graph going up really fast, but it's just because it got discovered. And now it's kind of balancing off and kind of going up at a steady rate, but it's still well below the national median price point of houses, and something you need to know. Well, that's today's video, guys. I hope I was able to answer your questions. If you have any other questions, please leave them down in the comments below, or shoot me a text and write me an email. I would love to get together, answer your questions, see if we can make you living in Chattanooga a reality and help you make the move. So with that being said, until next time, take care and God bless.